Today I'm here with Max. He's a comedy creator, car enthusiast, and a Silver Lake final boss. And Max makes some of my favorite niche comedy videos on the internet. And today I wanted to chat with him about what it means to be authentic online, what makes something cringe, and a little bit more. So let's get into it. Because I remember I was talking to you a little bit about stuff being like authentic online, and I feel like you're a kind of creator or influencer, but it feels kind of like you're like an anti-influencer because you show up online in a different way than a lot of that stuff. And I was curious, what do you think makes kind of traditional content like that feel cringe or not?
I think, it's an interesting question about authenticity because like the internet will sniff you out, even if something is authentic, if the internet takes something the wrong way, it'll just get blown out of proportion. Mm-hmm. But when it comes to authenticity on the internet, I think if things are overly polished or overly done, overly planned out, it can feel inauthentic. Mm-hmm. And that doesn't mean like, don't try hard and don't plan stuff out and make something that speaks to you in a way that you've put a lot of energy into. Mm-hmm. It just means like production value wise, it should feel like you just like flipped the camera on and it was something that was happening.
Yeah.
Right?
That people want is like, yeah, you just pulled out the phone, whatever, we were hanging out with the homies, but it's like by design, like you're manufacturing that. And what do you think makes it, how do you think you make it feel not that it's manufactured?
That's a good question. I feel like I sent you a voice memo like a long time ago about this. I don't even remember what I said. I'm just like on a sick one. I mean, look, it's like if you turn on a camera and you're on social media and you see depth of field, it's like, boom, that's an ad. I don't want to watch that. Right? I turn on the camera and I feel like everything is too polished. The lighting's too good, whatever. I don't want to see that because that is automatically I'm thinking someone is selling something to me in that case, right? Whereas like if it just feels like, for instance, I feel like a lot of comedy on the internet, the lines between if that's a bit or if that's a real thing are blurred. Right. So like I've watched videos where they'll lead off the video by saying just like the most insane thing ever. I am a vegan, non-binary father of 7. Yeah. Right. And you're like, hold on, I got to do more research on this person's page to see if this is a bit or if this is a real thing or am I supposed to take this in as satire or if that's just genuinely who this person is. Either way, I'm fascinated, right? Right.
And then everyone in the comments is like kind of arguing about it anyway.
Of course.
Like, is this real? Is this not?
Yeah, it feeds into itself. I always think also with like with social stuff, sometimes it's okay to do things completely wrong. Yeah. Right? Because it's almost like rage bait in just a visual representation.
Right. Or when you just mention like a small detail about a greater thing of what you're talking about, but it's obviously not the actual thing. Like you say the wrong year of a car and then everyone's like, actually, that's... They just go crazy in the comments.
It's a good practice to do something just so blatantly wrong, just one thing in every video because it gets people... gets people fired up.
Yeah, for sure. You were mentioning... when something feels like overly polished or when you see depth of field or something's color graded or whatever on a short form, it feels like an ad or like too overly produced. And I noticed like for me and other creators who do like more stuff in like visual art or design or videography or whatever, that's always like a struggle because if you do it the other way, like too authentic, it's like, well, who's this guy? He doesn't even know how to shoot with a fucking real camera or whatever. And it's like, you're fighting this battle of like, you want to do it in that raw way, but it's like you almost have to be like, actually, I still know how to use a fucking Sony FX30 or whatever.
Yeah, it's a
because you're never gonna win with either crew, you know.
Yeah, it's a fine line. I mean, I see it sometimes where it'll be like just 10 of the most beautiful cinematic shots in front of a mountain.
Yeah,
and it'll have like Crazy Love on there, but it's like in order to stand out in that cinematic, like look at these awesome composition space. It's hard, man.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of really good people out there. And of course, like delta or uncanny valley that occurs between like being like pretty good and nobody's going to watch it to being like great and everybody loves it. It's very close.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of people who are smaller, like creators, or try to do like similar things to what you do, like skits and stuff. And that must be like so hard to do that type of content and it not get any love. I feel like I would take it so personal because I was like, I thought this was funny, you know?
Yeah. I mean, when it comes to like when you're starting out, you know, it's like your biggest haters are going to be the people that you know.
Right.
You know, because they know you as one thing and you're trying to start something new. And then strangers and people will start to accept you. And then it'll swing the other way. Whereas like the people that you knew that were once hating on you are now your biggest supporter.
I always knew you were going to pop off and shit.
So
like, from the day I already told everyone.
Switches back and forth.
Yeah.
You know? You want to find the people that thought you were lame all along and continue to think you're lame even after you got a little motion.
I was lucky enough to like when I started because I've been always doing design work like since college and stuff, but when I started making like YouTube videos and content stuff, it was during COVID. So it felt like I was protected a little bit from at least the hate in real life because I wasn't running into a lot of people. So what are they gonna do, text me like that shit was whack? Like, I don't care, but I feel like if you have too much of that in person, like if your friends trying to like bring it down, a lot of people can get, I don't know, like demotivated from that and quit.
Yeah, it's easy to get discouraged. I would say that if you like to do something, this is with anything, you have to be outcome independent. You're doing it because you want to do that thing. And it doesn't matter if like 5 people like it, or 5 people see it, or if everyone thinks it's whack. If like you learned that skill, you did the thing, you developed yourself and you stepped outside of your comfort zone, you should be proud in that. You should own that.
Do you ever feel like it's hard to not move the goalpost forward, like as you grow? Like what was once so cool that something did so well is now like, oh, that's all right, it did okay.
Yeah, for sure. You definitely become desensitized to it, you know? I think everything, when it's new and it's exciting, that's when that's when you get the real like satisfaction out of like getting attention from it.
Yeah.
Right? And then at some point you're like, okay, cool. Now I'm bored of doing this thing. Even if it does well, I'm still bored of it. I want to do something else. I want to push myself because it's like, that's the creative mindset. It's like, hey, you're only as good as your last creation. Doesn't matter if you are like a legendary creator that's done, I don't know, look at an artist that has made 5 good albums.
Right.
And then they've made like 2 or 3 less good ones or ones that they feel less proud about. They're not going to feel like they're the legendary creator. So that's one aspect of it. The other aspect of it is you want to be creatively fulfilled, and you know, doing the same thing over and over again is not going to creatively fulfill you after a while.
Yeah.
You know, you look at any good artist, any good creator, they're constantly reinventing themselves, and they're able to do that in a way that feels new, it feels authentic, and feels stimulating to them. And that all translates to the viewer.
Yeah, I agree. It's so hard I've done stuff where I feel like I'm doing it because I think it's what I'm supposed to be doing.
Right.
And nothing feels worse than when you do that and it still doesn't have like whatever you think is like a good outcome, because you're like, now I did what I didn't even think was going to be cool to me and it didn't work out. So it was like a lose-lose.
It's a double whammy.
Yeah.
I've been there.
And then you get lucky though the other way around, right? Like, fuck it, this is cool. I like this. And then everyone loves it too.
Yeah.
And that feels so nice. That's the other side of it.
And everything in between. Sometimes you do something that you're like, well, people are gonna like it, and then they like it, and you're like, well, at least I was right.
Yeah, that's true. What's your what's like your background? Is it like comedy stuff, acting, filming? Like, is it all of that?
No, I've always kind of worked in video since the beginning of my career. When I was a lot younger, I was a designer. I was like, I want to be a graphic designer. I want to be a creative director. Mm-hmm. And I got a job. I was really young, probably like it was like my first like big boy job. I had various jobs, but I got like a 9 to 5
at a studio or something.
Yeah, I was doing like design work. They would do like social media campaigns, and then at that time I didn't know how to use After Effects or Premiere or anything like that. Mm-hmm. And when I got there, they had one guy that was good with Premiere and After Effects, and I was like, well, if I want to keep this job, I should probably teach myself how to use those programs.
Yeah,
because I was good with Photoshop and Illustrator and such, but so I got on YouTube and I taught myself how to do that. And at that point, I would do all the motion graphics for that company. It wasn't anything That's like cool. super crazy. It was just like, it was like making things move and bounce and like,
Was it for ads, like for brands and stuff?
It was usually for marketing for TV shows or movies as they would go on TV.
That makes sense.
So, yeah. We would work, and sometimes it was like, we had all different manner of clients, but most of it was entertainment stuff. And then I took that knowledge and I said, okay, I want to like do a little bit more, or I want to like see what's next for this and be like a more serious like designer, motion graphics person. So I went to this branding agency and I was like, hey, all your branding clients are going to need like video, motion graphics assets. That should be part of your branding offering. You sell brand programs where it's like, here's a brand system. Here's all the fonts and graphics you use. Part of that should be like intro bumpers, outro bumpers, just stuff. And this was pretty early on. This was probably like 2019.
Yeah, that's like a kind of standard now, probably.
Right, pretty standard now. It was I'm not going to say I was like the first one to be doing that, but as far as that company is concerned and old school branding agencies go, they were a little bit more hesitant to do it. But they bought into that, and I did a lot of that work for them. And obviously, like when 2020 happened, everything stopped for like 2-3 months. And then like basically what I had pitched to them, okay, all your clients are going to need these video assets, became like especially relevant.
Yeah, that was crazy because I remember it felt like when COVID was happening, it evened out like the playing field for everyone, because like Fallon and shit would be making like a podcast or like a Zoom show or some shit, and then you realize like they don't know shit about this. Like, they fucking suck at this.
It looked like it was filmed on like an iPhone 1.
Yeah, but they weren't even trying to make it look bad on purpose. They just didn't know how to work anything. And I feel like that, I don't know if this is true, but I would like to think that made some of those legacy brands like respect that stuff a little bit more.
For sure.
They probably are still like, yeah, but when this COVID shit's done, like we're going back to the old shit. But you'd like to think it kind of made everything a little more fair or whatever.
They had no choice but to respect it.
Yeah.
Because it was like the stuff that was getting the most love wasn't necessarily like Fallon on a Skype camera. It was like Joe Schmo doing like, I don't know, who's that the DJ guy that's always shirtless in his underwear, Mark.
Oh yeah, Mark Rebier.
Yeah. It was like people were like watching that kind of thing, or like TikTok dance videos, or like that's kind of the rise of like of all the TikTokers too. Like you have like the little TikTok kids that were living in those houses and just being
like in West Hollywood and shit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And there was just like selfie camera, like them just
Yeah. And like on Twitch and shit.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
when like Kick and all that stuff came out too. Like
For
all those
sure.
alternative ones. And they're like, this is where the bad kids go or whatever
Yeah,
to do
yeah,
streaming.
yeah.
That shit was funny. I feel like brands at that time were looking at like that Mark Rebier content or whatever, and they're like, how can we do this for Target or something? Like they still didn't really get it though. They were like, can we do this for like ExxonMobil, but like a song?
Yeah,
or
how do we steal this and use it to generate shareholder value?
Yeah. That shit's funny.
Which they still do, you know. But I think to your point, they like learn to respect it because it's like not everyone can be the Mark Rebier, you know. It's only he can do that,
right,
you know. And it's like you would think like on paper like guy DJing stuff in his underwear and just being an awesome vibe is like, and I know that's like the most millennial reference.
Yeah.
but
I know what you mean though. It's like when they tried to replace the guy like from the All Gas No Breaks and like Channel 5, Andrew, and they were like, we'll just make it with a new host. Like it's the concept of the show that people like, and then they realize like it's actually the host, you know, and the creator.
I think, and furthermore, I've seen it happen to like YouTube channels too.
That shit's weird.
Like, well, where it'll be this awesome YouTube channel that like they're just cranking out a certain type of content and they have their following built in, and a big company will say, okay, I'm going to acquire this and give you guys the funding, and then we're going to milk you for as much money as we can possibly make
like
with
Donut.
you. Like, yeah, I mean, yeah, Donut, Hoonigan, whatever. And of course, you know, these companies learn really quickly that it's not like the machine that it's built, that's already been built, that is generating this kind of intangible awesomeness that these channels are creating, but it's like the individual players that are like pouring their heart and soul and creativity into these things that like really, that's what makes it special.
100%.
Donut has, you know, obviously is not what it once was, and you'll see a channel like Speed with 3 E's. You know, that's like some of the heavy hitters from that. You know, you got James Pumphrey, Jesse Wood, Zach Redpath. They're all building that. Those are all really super, super talented, creative people. And then on the other hand, you have like a big time where you have like Jeremiah Burton, Zach Joe.
Yeah.
You'll have Kanan, Felipe, Andy. All those guys are like super, super talented guys. And that's what makes something like that special.
I mean, respectfully, I used to love those channels, and now I only watch those 2 channels instead because they left. It's like when
because they're really fucking good.
If you're like a LeBron stan and they go to another team, you know, that's how it felt for me. I was like,
totally.
well, I don't care about the channel. I like these people. They're dope.
Right. You could put a color and a logo on anything and it'll make it good.
Right.
What makes it good is the personality and the soul that you can feel that they like pour into this.
I remember this happened when they were talking about replacing Sean Evans on Hot Ones.
Yeah.
They were like, what? They were like, everyone said basically in the comments and stuff, like, yo, we're just going to go watch what he does. So
for sure,
don't do that.
He'll just do the same thing.
Yeah.
But it's like, I don't give a fuck about famous people eating spicy wings.
Yeah.
It's like, he's super likable. He asks great questions. He's like very non-abrasive. You know what I mean? It's like, this guy is awesome.
Right.
And you take him out of that equation, I don't give a shit about.
Right. He makes the people seem interesting.
For sure.
Even when they're not. That's like why I like Nardwar too. They have a similar kind of vibe, you know?
For sure. And it's awesome. And it's like, these guys really like do their homework. Like you see them and you're like, oh, this is simple. Right. But it's not simple. You think like, you don't think that these guys are like staying up all night, like doing their research and like thinking through how this thing is going to go and how they can ask the right questions to like make an interesting interview, how they can pull up the right photos, just present themselves in a certain way that like is going to open these people up. That's a talent.
Yeah. I mean, those people are great examples because that's one of the rare situations where I feel like the artist feels like they made it too when they get to go on that. rather than like they're doing someone a favor by going on their network or whatever, you know,
Totally.
to promote something.
Yeah, the only anomaly in that space, and I say anomaly because like you don't necessarily see who's making this thing so good and special is like the NPR Tiny Desk.
Yeah, that's true.
For the Tiny Desk stuff, it is an exercise in curation.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's so curated that I'm like, I want people I like to be on there more. I'm like, where are they? Like, when's the blah 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 Tiny Desk gonna drop? You know,
right? But I mean, they're really good. They have like I've discovered artists on that, and also like I'll have like a favorite, you know, nobody artist that like gets on there, and I'm like,
hell yeah,
they deliver. You know,
that's sick. Do you you know, you were talking about the line between people online and like who they actually are and like this character or whatever they show up as. How much do you think you, like who I'm talking to now and outside and stuff, is similar to you as the guy in the videos doing the skits?
Yeah, I think like obviously you can only learn so much from watching a 10-second, you know, slow motion video of somebody with like a little bit of text on screen. You might like understand somebody's humor or like, you know, feel like you relate to them in some ways, but at the end of the day, you don't know them. I would say like you get closer by like watching YouTube in long form or like hearing a conversation about somebody. Right. You know, it's kind of the same thing about like, if you go up to someone, you're a fan of, they're famous or whatever, they have some notoriety in like the niche that you're interested in. And I'm always fascinated that people that like go up and want to take a photo. Because it's like, I always wonder like where that photo ends up. Is it like to show your friends that you like saw this person?
The story, right?
If it was somebody that I was actually a fan of, I would never ask them for a photo. Yeah. Because I don't know what would I do with that photo. If anything, I would spend that time. I would think of like a meaningful question that I've been wanting to ask them. Yeah. Like, yo, how do you, I don't know, A$AP Rocky, how do you reinvent yourself time and time again before every album? How do you keep things fresh and interesting? You've been in the game for so, you know, stuff like that. Something that it's like, something that like gives me a little picture into like their mindset to me would be far more meaningful than like, yo, let me grab a selfie with you. For the person that's asking the question, that's more rewarding because you get some advice from someone you admire as opposed to like a picture. Like, oh, yeah, what's a picture do? Yeah. I don't know what I could do with that. But
that's kind of a microcosm of like the problem with how a lot of people are with the internet. They care more about the fact that people know they met them than actually meeting them.
Sure. Yeah. That's a very profound thought.
Because I think I'm in no way on a level as a creator, personality, whatever you want to call it, to be like where I wouldn't take a picture with a celebrity. Like they're still way more famous than me. But I've noticed as I've met more creators who become like my friends who were once like these untouchable popular people, now it feels even weirder to do that because I'm like, yo, I might actually know you in the next month or two, so I'm not gonna like fangirl someone that could be my friend or colleague or whatever you want to call it.
For sure. With that being said, I also think it's okay to like tell people you're a fan of theirs.
That's true.
I'll tell anyone, even if it's, you know, somebody I like their stuff. They have 2,000 followers, but they make really awesome stuff. Right. Or like they have like 1,000 Spotify listeners. If I like your record, I'll tell you like, yo, I'm a fan of yours.
I've had really fun experiences where like that feel like that. What makes me feel good is I've met people now that are my friends, and I can look back at like a message or something to them where I'm like, dude, you're fucking so sick. Like, I love your stuff. I want to do something like that. And now we just are sharing memes with each other and shit. You know?
For sure. Yeah. And I don't think there's any shame in that. Yeah. I think honestly there's honor in that. Like, I want to give the people that I think are like creatively inspiring, I want to give them their flowers, even if they already are up here to me. Yo, that video was awesome. That was sick. Yeah. That shit fired me up.
I feel like I know so many people in the design world, video world, like content, whatever, that make dope shit that I almost forget that like that's not the standard across the board because my feed is just like such cool shit all the time.
Right.
It's like that's like a privileged position. Like I feel like I've curated like all the slop out of my algorithm.
It's a beautiful place to be. I can't say the same for mine. But no, I mean, ultimately, like the goal is to be surrounded by people that inspire you. Like I don't really want to chill with somebody that I don't want some skill or something that they have or to learn or like a little piece of their mindset. Yeah. Like I don't want to, if you don't inspire me in any type of way, like I don't necessarily like want you around me. And I feel like the same should be on the reverse end. If I'm not doing stuff that you're inspired by or like you think is cool, then like it doesn't, then why would you have that in your life?
I've noticed too, with your stuff, you've been posting a little bit more and like talking about doing YouTube and long form stuff. And like I watched your video when you went to Japan, and then I watched the one with the Prius. I actually only watched the second Prius one.
Oh, yeah.
I like that a lot. And I went to school in Chico, so it was funny to see you go out there. I had no idea they even had that over there.
Come on, Prius off-road.
With
Shout
doing
out Prius
stuff
off-road.
Yeah, shout them out. With doing stuff like that, do you ever feel like you're boxed in to only do like the short form skit stuff, or do you feel like you're comfortable doing like all kinds of creative stuff?
I think like that's what's exciting when you feel like you're at the block, like you have nothing to lose. That's creatively the most exciting. You can create whatever you want.
That's true.
I've had the biggest opportunities for myself in life where it feels like something bad has happened. I lost my biggest client. I got fired from this job. I don't know what I'm going to do to do this, that, or the other, because then I have to lock in and like tap into some creativity to think, A, what is it that I want to create for myself? And B, how is it possible to do that and bridge the gap between like making ends meet for me? That's when the biggest opportunity occurs.
I agree. I wish I could trap that feeling like in a bottle, because I had that during like COVID, and I could just tell like I work hard and I'm proud of the stuff I'm doing right now, but I am not like locked in like I was when I had no other option. Like I'd quit my job and I was like, this shit better fucking work. And I told myself, if I have this much money, if I run out, I'll just get another design job or whatever. And it just never happened. So I'm like, hell yeah, it worked.
And that's an incredible feeling.
Yeah, it's so good.
Yeah. I totally agree with you there. So like for me, like you're talking about, oh, like what do you know, what's next? Or do I feel like I'm pigeonholed? It's like, I don't have to do anything.
That's true. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
No, and matter of fact, nobody has to do anything ever. And I think that's the difference between somebody that lives a life of freedom is that at the end of the day, you make your own rules in life. You know, if you don't think you can do something, you can't do something, right? Yeah. If you think, oh yeah, I can live a life where I can just travel around and do whatever I want all the time and like somehow earn a living from doing that, then you'll find a way to make that happen.
Yeah.
And that's something like you'll talk to people who are successful. I keep going back to the artists, like music artists, like they'll be like going to college for 1 week and then drop out.
Yeah.
It's because it's like that's not part of their plan. And they're like, well, it doesn't really matter if I want to, if this is the safe route, because this is not the life that I'm going for. I'm going to build the life that I'm trying to create. Yeah. And it's certainly a mindset.
I feel the same way. Like right now with doing this stuff, like I never thought I would make a living as like a designer, especially being like freelance. That worked out because I tried. I never thought I would make money off doing like design content or whatever, and that worked out. And then now I'm doing this stuff that is a little bit separate from that stuff, or mostly separate, and that that feeling did start to come into my head. Like, no, you're not allowed to do that. You're the guy that can only talk about this stuff. But then I wasn't that guy that did that stuff at one point either. So
for sure,
I
you
think
created that.
You're really I really like that where you said like when you're starting something new, that's kind of the best thing because you can just change it up and reinvent yourself.
And the secret is you can do that at any time.
Yeah, even
like,
at the top or bottom or whatever.
Right. Like I might never make a slow-mo sped up comedy reel ever again, you know. Maybe that doesn't move me, and maybe my inspiration and creativity is pointing towards somewhere else. And I think like,
do you think what do you think's like your magnum opus comedy short form video?
Oh, mine?
Yeah.
Whatever the most recent one is.
Okay.
I think, you know, it's like what is authentic to you at a certain time might not be authentic to you at another time.
Okay.
I think there's ones that I look back on, I'm like, that's cool, that's still relevant, that's still awesome. And there's other ones that I'm like, that doesn't really speak to me anymore. Yeah. But it did at the time, and that was cool. So for that time, that's the best one. And for the modern time, whatever, not even necessarily the one that's already out, maybe the one that I'm working on, that's the best one to me, because that is true authenticity in this very moment.
That's a good point. Where do you come up with some of these ideas for the actual copy? Like is there a kind of formula you have where what you think's funny, but also how you can explain it to other people in that simple of a form?
For sure. Yeah. I mean, it's a balance. Like, just I might see something funny and write it down in my notes and then think about it for a while. And I'm like, that was just funny to me. Yeah. You know, versus like an idea that's like, okay, cool. I feel like this is a universal experience that people might have. I think obviously like the best ideas come from like your life. You're just living it, and you have an experience or a joke with your friends that you make, and you want to be able to convey that in the form of a video. Yeah. Of course, there is like a bit of transitive property that's applied of like the conception of idea has to move its way down the funnel into an actual video. And obviously like it takes art, creativity, and vision to like put it through that funnel and make something that communicates that thought, feeling, or whatever in a way that's relatable and resonates with people.
Well, your stuff's interesting because it feels like one of those like, oh, no one had or what do people always comment on stuff like this? Like, I guess no one has an original life or whatever, like that type of thing, you know, like we've all had that experience, but your stuff's also sometimes like very niche and regional. It's like not everyone in the world knows about like 4100 or something, but it seems like everyone does because they all think it's funny still somehow.
I think just because people don't know about Silver Lake, people don't never been to 4100 bar doesn't mean that they don't understand the idea of it. Yeah. Like everyone knows of a Silver Lake. That's true. Right? There's a Silver Lake of you know, there's a Silver Lake of Germany, probably. Yeah. There's a Silver Lake of South Africa. You know, maybe it's somewhere deep in Cape Town. I don't know, but like,
it's true.
It's like the concept. You're just taking a word to describe a concept or an archetype, and people can imagine that. Part of it's just storytelling.
Yeah, I think that's why people like connect with your stuff so much is because you are kind of that, but you're also not, but you're also okay with people thinking you're that. And it's like sometimes it's speaking on other people, but there's always a little bit of like, you're the bit too. It's like a self-deprecation a little bit also.
For sure. Yeah. I think when you're doing comedy and you're making fun of someone, it's okay to say like, I am this thing and this is stupid. Right? Yeah, exactly. Whereas if you're like, this thing is stupid and actually I'm better than that, it creates a completely different tone that doesn't always land, right? Yeah. I agree. There's certain bits you can do like I have to look like the loser in this bit in order for it to land.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it will feel like it's misogynistic or it's racist or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You just have to frame it a certain way so that people know that you're not those things.
Yeah.
Or it doesn't come off that way.
I just saw one of your videos this morning. I liked it. Was I think it was old. I don't know. It was on YouTube actually, but it was like because I've had this experience. It was like when none of your homies have a truck because they're all like liberal, and you got to put on like the NRA hat and the Blue Lives Matter sticker or whatever.
That's just a virtue of living in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
You know? Like anyone in a city is like, cool. Who owns a truck in a city?
Yeah.
It's hard to come by. Mazda 3 ain't gonna cut it.
Yeah. Do you own like a lot of cars though? Do you have a truck or no?
I have a Land Rover.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I got a truck, but not a pickup truck necessarily.
Yeah.
It's pretty good at hauling stuff. It can tow pretty good.
Do you think a lot of people online know that you're that into like car stuff or not really?
It's something that I've posted more about recently, probably in the past like year.
Yeah, especially on the longer stuff, right?
Yeah, when I first started out, I was working with at the time I would go into this office at Donut Media. Mm-hmm. So I would always post with like cars that they had and stuff.
Right.
It'd be in the background and it'd be like something people comment on or like wondering.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, cars have always been featured in my videos, but certainly not in a way that people would know. Of course, like it goes back to like people can only know so much about you from watching a 10-second video,
right?
2 to 3 times a week at the most, you know?
It's funny though when people find that stuff out, whether it's like you're into the same niche thing that they like or whatever. It's always like, I feel like an exciting experience because now they're like, oh my God, like now I can relate this to you too. Like I've even had people on my longer form videos because I'm half Mexican, but I'm like so white,
right.
You know? So sometimes it's not like obvious. And I've talked about that in passing in a video. And then all these people are like, hell yeah, like whatever, like we thought you were just this other designer, white dude. And I'm like, well, I am kind of still. If you like, whatever you think is kind of what reality is sometimes. But stuff like that, like it's cool to have another reason to connect to someone that you like.
Totally cool, and like at the end of the day, that is a characteristic of branding. Too, right? Is like what you say your brand isn't your brand. Mm-hmm. What your consumer says your brand is. That's a brand,
right? And
you can do so much to control that, but like at the end of the day, it's not your say what your brand is,
right? I remember someone talking to me about that because I used to do a podcast like back a couple of years ago. It was all about like graphic design stuff. And I would interview like designers and visual artists. And I remember I asked this girl, and I was like, something about her style, like what does she think her style is? And she said a similar thing where it's not really for her to decide. It's what people talk about it as when she's not there.
Sure. Like, you know, we're live inside my living room. What is my style? I don't know. Yeah. You come in here and you take it in. That's for you to decide.
I should have known you were a designer with the Saul Bass
come
poster.
On, I had to. I love old graphic design.
Yeah. You ever look at the film archive or whatever online? And they have all you can sort by year and look at all the 70s and 80s posters.
Oh, wow.
You could look at all the ones they did in Poland that were like all bootlegs because they weren't allowed to use. Yeah. They're not allowed to use the actor's actual face in that country, I guess, in a certain time. So they'd create like the most like insane like avant-garde versions of like Rocky or The Godfather or whatever.
I was just watching a speed video about like interior design. They had this really incredible video, super well done. But one of the things that the host James was saying was that, oh, well, you know, a lot of times movie posters get like a bad rap as like just like boy room stuff, right? But it's like, but what if you got, instead of a Terminator poster, you got a Terminator poster in Japanese and like all the texts in Japanese and he showed like a side-by-side comparison, and of course like the one in the foreign language seems like more like designer-y, more like niche, you know.
Dude, just with Japanese characters in general, it's like a cheat code. When I was in Japan, I'm like, that's so hard, and it's like the pharmacy.
Right.
I think it's the verticalness and just all of it combined.
I think it's also because like we see these characters that we have on things, and you know, just kind of becomes like only a vessel for communication stuff. Whereas we see more like the forms and the shapes.
Right.
When we go to a different place and we're like, cool. Of
That's
course,
true.
It's also like something we don't see every day. We're desensitized to seeing, even if something has really awesome type on it. Like you look at this Roscoe comic book, like that is really cool. But unless you take a second to stop and appreciate that, it doesn't probably look as cool because we just read it and keep it pushing.
That's true.
And that's like a design principle. Is also like the best typography is invisible because it's just legible. It communicates what it needs to communicate and it does nothing more.
Yeah. Damn, I might have to post this on the main channel now. I didn't know you're going to be dropping about the the Massimo Vignelli like
Come
terminology.
On, dude. Helvetica. You know I like Helvetica.
Of course. For the stuff you make as your short form videos, the skits and stuff, what are some of your influences or things that have shaped the way that you like to do that stuff?
So when I first started making the skits and stuff, I had learned to make TikToks when I was working at Donut. Because basically Jesse Wood, a good friend of mine, he was the CCO, head like creative guy at Donut at the time. Built, in my opinion, shaped a lot of like what Donut was at its peak, and has since left and is now doing the same thing for Speed. But he was like, I had like no Instagram followers and would just like post stuff that I thought was funny or cool on my Instagram. He reached out and I would do like design work for him from time to time. And he was like, yo, I think you're funny. Come like make TikToks for Donut.
Yeah.
So obviously, and I had no idea how to make TikToks. I just was like, okay, I'll just go and like figure it out as I go. But like I have all the like technical skills it takes to like make videos and stuff. Obviously I had, because I was using like Premiere and After Effects all day, every day. So I was like, yeah, I mean, I get the concept basically. So I figured that out. And then once I had a good understanding of that, I was no longer doing like social content for them. I was more doing marketing for their merch program. And I just would make videos on my own. So it had to be something that I could do quickly, something that was like just short little things that I thought were funny. And essentially at that time, it read more like a meme page that had some kind of like interesting visual. And of course, you can do that for so long before it needs to evolve into something else. So then the videos became more story. And I always thought like either your text has to do the heavy lifting for a video and then the video is simpler, or the opposite. The video is doing more of the storytelling and the text is just simpler. And you don't want to do both because that's too complicated and that like
that's a pretty good formula.
Too much visual noise.
Yeah.
It's like the same thing with like designing a poster, right? You might have imagery that's really crazy and awesome. Let's look at this Vertigo poster. You have really like a fascinating image, but the text is really simple. There's nothing crazy going on. And if the text was insane and the image was insane, you'd have nowhere to go.
Right.
There's also like in this poster a lot of dead space on all the sides and stuff, because your eye needs a place to like rest and needs a way to flow through the image.
My favorite's like the man with the golden arm one. That one goes crazy.
Yeah,
I have that one and the Exodus one.
The Exodus one, I'm not thinking, but I can clearly
it's like
imagine.
On fire with the gun sticking out of the thing. Yeah. You know how you do the just white text, black stroke, like default story thing? Is that also part of what you think makes it feel like, oh, it's shot on the iPhone, it's just a quick video? Because you could have branding around the text if you thought that would be what you wanted to do, but it feels like you do it simple like that by design.
Right. I mean, when it comes to like text on the screen, I want the text to be legible, because at the end of the day, like I'm trying to do the storytelling either with the text or the video, but like the design of the text doesn't really help push that story forward. There was things that I used to do a lot where the text became part of the video, where I would be like opening up a drawer and it would have a piece of paper with some text on it.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I don't know how to describe it other than that.
It's like when music's actually in the scene rather than music that's playing as the soundtrack.
Right, know? But even still, it'd be like Helvetica white or black on a white paper. Like I would never try to design it, because ultimately, like you only have a couple seconds of people's attention at the maximum, right? So you have to very quickly communicate your point. And if anything, like if the text is annoying to read or it's too like designed, then they're gone.
Yeah. I mean, that shows a lot of restraint from you too, on like from a creative standpoint, because knowing what you're saying now, like you don't feel the need to prove that you know what looks cool, or you know you can make like sick typography or whatever. Because it's still the best option, but I feel like sometimes I've fallen into traps where like it's like I'm trying to prove that I know what I'm doing by overdoing something.
Totally, but it's the same way that like a music artist, like they know how to play every instrument, but they might just use like, and maybe they'll create like layers, but if you're playing every instrument at once, it's overwhelming. You're listening to a wall of music, right? So I think the best editing, the best music making, the best creativity essentially is a form of restraint. It's not what it is, a combination. I think it's like that classic saying that like less is more. Yeah. It's sometimes what you're not including that says the most.
Right. It's like that, that guy, Paul Rand, he said, when something's done, not when you don't have anything left to add, but when you have nothing left to take away.
Right.
So it's that kind of.
Right. Totally. You want to strip it to its barest elements. And we were talking about that with like cars. That's kind of what makes old cars so special.
I think so. Yeah.
Is like you have a new car, there's a billion sensors on it. It like tells you the weather as soon as you start it up. It like will beep at you 500 times. Yeah. Sometimes I would just want to like use a tool. I don't want my screwdriver to tell me the weather. I don't want my watch to be able to answer phone calls. Yeah. I just want something that is purpose built, excellent at the thing that it's supposed to do sometimes. We live in a world where things are constantly trying to do all the thinking for you. Things are trying to remove your brain from the equation and just do it all for you, right? I want to use my brain.
Yeah. I agree. Everything's trying to be like the Swiss Army knife now and do everything at once, but they do end up doing nothing really that well at all.
Right. And I think that speaks to how powerful restraint is. And not that it's a new concept, right? Right. I mean, Paul Rand is saying that probably like in the 90s.
Yeah. My professor, I feel like, had like trauma from him or something, because she went to school in Harvard or whatever where he taught, and she would always use his like principles on us to like pass down the like in the critiques and just like rip our shit up. Like, oh, Paul would have fucking threw up if he saw this or whatever. I'm like, bro, I don't even know who that is. I was like 18, in a design class. But one of the last things I wanted to ask you is, what's kind of your litmus test for when you create one of those videos for if you think it's funny or not before you post it?
I won't post it if I don't think it's funny. It's got to be fun. Yeah. A, it's got to be funny to me. Then B, it's like a feeling, right? If I think it's funny, I think it's good enough to shoot a video for, I shoot the video for, I edit it, the other video feels good, then I'll put it out. I'll usually put it out on TikTok first, and, look, every once in a while I'm wrong. Yeah. And like, it's not relatable. I always say, I'm never wrong. I'm just too early sometimes. I say that to all the homies, not just for me. Yeah. Yo, funny. you weren't wrong. You're just too early. I think that's true. Sometimes like the general public isn't ready for that joke because it's too niche. But that's sometimes also where the magic lies. You're talking about, okay, sometimes things that I post feel like really, really niche and like, but somehow it's like relatable still. It's like, that's where the magic is like, you're almost too early, but you're like right on the cutting edge of on time.
Yeah, that's good.
Same thing with Saul Bass. Saul Bass is making this shit. Half the people
were like, what the fuck?
We're like, what the fuck? I think you brought up Massimo Vignelli. He did, if I'm remembering correctly, like the original New York subway map, correct?
Yeah, or he redid it to make it
redid it, right?
Yeah.
And everyone fucking hated it, and they pulled it off. You know, they like used it for 2 years. They spent so much money. They're like, everyone hates it. This is shit. Now it's upheld as like a graphic design case study of something that's so awesome. He wasn't wrong. He was just too early.
And it's like, that's why people take photos of subways and they're like, why does this look sick?
Right.
And it's just fucking helping.
Right. Oh, he's
tracking in.
Yeah. Like even the subway signs, they're sick, but that's like some Vignelli stuff. And it's like nothing special until Helvetica and like a fucking yellow circle.
Right. It's hard though.
It's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough as nails.
Yeah. Hell yeah, though, bro. Thank you. I really appreciate you coming chatting with me, or me coming to you rather.
Thanks for coming.
Check out Max if you haven't on YouTube, Instagram, all that stuff. And yeah, peace out, y'all.
Hell yeah.